so I'd like to know a little bit of my audience. What grades are you guys in?
9.
9? All 9?
No,
11? Okay, so you guys are doing IB right now?
Yeah.
I see. What subject?
I took history, ESS, French, English literature, math. Okay, that's
Alright, what about you?
English, Chinese, biology, psychology, art,
Oh, okay.
and math.
Interesting diversity. Right. And so the rest is year 9. So you just started your high school, you have plenty of time to prepare, right? It's great you're here. Alright. พร้อมยังครับเบน
พร้อมครับ
เริ่มไหม Okay. So I'm going to talk about Ivy League today. So any one of you know how many universities are there in the so-called Ivy League? 8? Can you name them?
Stanford.
No, Stanford is not in Ivy League.
Harvard.
Harvard, yes.
Princeton.
Princeton, yes.
Brown.
Brown, yes.
Columbia.
Yale, yes. Columbia, yes.
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth, yes. MIT is not in Ivy League. We have 2 left. Brown already went. Yale already went. Princeton already went. Berkeley is not in Ivy League. One begins with a C. C. Yeah, C. It's in New York, but not Manhattan, because Columbia is in Manhattan, right? Alright, you guys are slow. Cornell. Alright, and the last one is University of Pennsylvania. Okay, so that's 8. But people usually mention that the best 10 university, not in terms of ranking, but in terms of it's been around for a very long time. They always often talk about Ivy League plus 2, which the other 2 is Stanford, yes, and MIT, like you mentioned. And you can notice that this is the map of America, of course. Ivy League is clustered in the northeast region, which is of New England, and the only one that's not in this area is in California, which is Stanford. Do you know why they're called Ivy League? No idea at all. Is it about academic?
I thought it was sport.
Yes, it's about sport. It's a football league, American football. So that's why there has to be 8, so they can arrange a tournament, right? Elimination, so 8 becomes 4 becomes 2 and then get a winner. The first one to join the league, I believe, is Harvard, and the last one was Cornell, because Cornell is only 100-ish years old, and Harvard has been around for like 300 years old, or 200 years old. They can't add any more to the league because then the tournament wouldn't happen, but as you know, the football in Ivy League is not very good. They're not like the best league in the country for college. The other better league for sport is called the Big Ten, which has like Purdue, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, blah blah blah. Maybe because they don't have so many jocks in Ivy League school, that's why their football teams are not the best. Anyway, they happen to be good in academic, that's all. So they call the Ivy League, the football league, as a well known as a good academic school. Okay, let's look at ranking. I believe this is 2013 ranking. You can see that most of the 10 schools that you see listed here in the US World News ranking, there are about 1, 2, 3, 4 in the top 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, another 4 in the top 20. And Brown and Dartmouth kind of went away quite far because they're not heavy on their engineering school. They're more of the liberal arts school. But you can see that each school, like Harvard, has 47 Nobel laureates, and Yale is 49. MIT has a lot more than that. Columbia also. But, and their student to faculty ratio is all below 10. And their library contains several millions of books, right? Now look at Thailand. Juฬa is considered the best university in Thailand and is ranked number 201. It has none of the Nobel laureates. And student to faculty ratio is 37, so one faculty per a room of 37 students. And the library is not belong to Juฬa. This one is the National Library of Thailand. It has only 1 million books. Just to show you a comparison. Okay, so what are the qualities of top American graduates? Why are they different from people who graduate from somewhere else? First one that you have to be is a lifelong learner. People never stop learning. You have to keep learning after you graduate. You get into a job, you keep learning. If there's a single day in your life that you stop learning, then you probably won't make it far. Sorry for the harshness. The second one is breadth and depth of knowledge. This is kind of a signature of American school. They don't focus you on one thing. They believe that a successful person has to know it all. You have to know all around things. Once you get into work, you want to climb to ladder, you want to be a better person. If you are an engineer, how can you climb to the top if you don't understand finance or accounting or marketing? You only focus on making product, but you don't care about other aspects of the organization. They would rather promote someone who knows more than you, right? The third thing is application of knowledge. You can notice that the research industry in America is, you can say, one of the best in the world. There are Silicon Valleys, there's chemical industry, a lot of technologies coming out of America. And you can probably notice that Oxford and Cambridge has a long history of scientists, right? And of course, Stephen Hawking is in one of the Oxbridge. But Americans really focus on application of knowledge. They don't research for the sake of research. They research and then they, to put it easy, make money out of it. And they push a lot of innovation in the world these days. Look at Google or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. There are a lot of companies that they put computer science knowledge into application, and America, like chemical knowledge, a lot of license of chemical process come from America. There are tons of more examples, but I'm gonna go fast here. They tend to be competitive and innovative and cooperative. That's speaking of it also. People tend to be more competitive, and they mentality is to raise each other all the time. And the fifth one is one of the signature also. American people more seems to be entrepreneurial. They don't plan their whole life to be an employee. At one point, their top goal is to become an owner of something. So they gain experience, they gain knowledge, and then at one point they start their own thing. That's why there are so many new companies born in America. And if you notice carefully, that's the reason why computer science field in the industry in America is the biggest growth in the world. Because all the companies we know, like Google, start less than 20 years ago, opposed to big companies in other countries that has to be established 50 years also before, right? I'm not going to talk about professionalism, that's pretty much simple. Global citizen, they are increasing awareness of what's going on around the world, because if you want to be successful today, you can't be in your own country. You can't only focus within your own country. You have to look around and you have to be aware of course, opportunity around the world and how to deal with people around you. But I guess you guys don't have any problem because you're already diverse to be here, right? And another thing is confidence to voice your opinion. People like to debate, of course. and they take initiative in leadership, and people are self-motivated to work. Okay, so if you want to apply to these colleges, what do you need to have? The first one is you gotta perform academically well. That's pretty much speaks for itself. If you know about the SAT score, what is the maximum score of SAT right now? 2400. If you want to get into Harvard, what is the mean score? Do you know that? 22? 2200? 24? No, you cannot have a mean of 24, so everyone getting there has 24, right? I would say it's around 2250 to 2300. And that's the highest ranking Ivy League, which includes Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. That's pretty much in the same range. If you look at the lower Ivy, like Cornell or, I don't know, Brown, that would be around 2150 as a mean of applicant. So I'm not going to say that anyone can get into these schools, because that would be a lie, right? The actual number of people who getting into Ivy schools, each school, let's say for University of Pennsylvania, there are average of about 3 people getting in every year, which means there are some year 5 people get in, and some year only Thai person can get in University of Pennsylvania. Howard and other schools are pretty much the same. I believe that last year there are 5 Thai students getting into MIT. So if you add all the number up, it wouldn't be more than 100 people getting into these top schools. But don't worry, there are some other better schools too. I just don't mention it today. So competition is scary, I would say. Do you expect all of these people who get into this school are from international school? No? Where are they from? They're not in schools? They're homeschooled? Thai school? Maybe? Yeah, about half or 40% of people who get into these schools these days are people from Thai school who get King Scholars or some other scholarship. And that's a big advantage. They are like the top cream student of the country. I'm not saying you can't be there. With a good preparation, of course you can be there. I'll talk about it later. The second one is being an avid self-learner with logical and critical thinking skill. That's important. And that will reflect from your SAT score also. This also reflects from your essay when you do the application, but I'll talk about that later. The third one is kind of important, potential for post-college success. This is what college look for. They just don't want people go there, pay tuition, learn their things, get out and get a job. They want people who will carry their name and reflect their success back into universities. They would look for people who have potential to become CEO, Prime Minister, President of some countries, or something like that. And they will notice from your application and your interview, because you might notice some people among your peers or some people you've met at your age, they kind of reflect a special aura. They have that thing going on for them that they are special. And admission people are smart, you can notice that. The next one is positively reinforced university atmosphere. This mainly speaks about diversity. If they don't care about this at all the Ivy League college will be filled with white American and Asian American, because obviously they are the best as academic, right? But if you do that, then you won't get a diverse culture at all. You won't get people who play music, or people who do sports, or people who do other kind of activities in the college. So that is one of the things that they consider. Next one, probably the most important one in here, is to maintain intellectual curiosity. You can't have the mentality of a glass full of water. And this is usually the mistake that students do. When they apply, they often present themselves as, I'm good. I'm the best student there ever is. I aced all the tests, class president, blah blah blah, tennis captain team, music, and I also help orphanage. And that is not the point, because if you're already the best person there is, then what's the point of education, right? There is no place for you, for them to help you improve. The next one is passionately goal-oriented. This one is kind of gray area. American college is kind of chill about this, that you don't need to have an exact goal, but you need to have that enthusiasm. You may not know what you are going to do, going to be, or going to achieve, but at least you have to have that urge to do something, to find out what you like to do. Or even better, if you already know what you want to do with your life, and it's a respectable goal. And the next one, well-rounded in extracurricular activities. That one kind of support with positively reinforced university atmosphere, because basically they just don't want nerds. People who go there and only study with excellent academic and do nothing else. They want people who use their facilities and bring other aspect into the college name. This really dim pie chart here is what do you expect when you go to college? People usually say they expect academic, right? Because of course you pay money, you get your degree, you get knowledge, and then you get a job. But that's only part of it, because career is also a big part. College helps you discover what you want to do in your life. People at some point study 1 or 2 years into college, and then they decide that this is not for me anymore. They change major, they discover a new career, they get hands-on experience on something, and they decide to pick what's right for them. And the other pillar that's really important is social and extracurricular. I would say that 50% of people experience at college come from peers, friends you make there. It really opens up your world. People who have same interests, people with same passion. And you might not notice it, but this is a really great support for your interest and your passion. Okay, let's look at the next thing. So what do you need for application? Keep in mind that the area in the pie chart doesn't accurately reflect how they consider your application. It seems like the GPA pie is really big, right? But that's not necessarily true. Of course, they look at your GPA. Of course, they look at your standardized test. That's SAT and TOEFL if you are not carrying US passport or any English-speaking country passport. Those two I'm not going to get into a lot, because that's like a standard thing they look at. The third one is personal interview. This one is tricky. People usually think that they won't get interview, but that's become less and less true. Right now in Ivy schools, usually about 70% of applicants get interview. Even in Thailand, they have this network of alumni, and so they will just email you and ask if you want an interview. It wouldn't be a negative thing if you turn them down, but it would be a good thing if you go there. But also, if you go there and you bomb it, of course that would be negative for you. So that's really depends if you think you're good at interview or not. But usually I recommend students who got the opportunity to interview to take it, because even a little bit of the plus thing you can get, that will be benefit. Extracurricular activities, I already said about that in the last slide. Hobbies, pretty much the same thing. Personal essay is really crucial here. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of its importance? You may have, you may not have. You look puzzled.
It's like personal statement, personal essay.
It's kind of similar. If you talk about the UCAS system, that's very generic, just personal statement, like saying what you want to do. But personal essay is tricky because each college has different prompt. They'll ask you different things. For example, they could ask you really simple things like, can you share with us the experience that you think is important to you and you think we should know it? That's a simple question, right? Maybe you can talk about how you get at this point, what's the cause of your curiosity, or how you become passionate to get into Harvard, things like that. But then there are weird essays, prompt that I came across, like Caltech. They have this question really short. They just ask, what's so weird about prime number? Something like that. You just have to answer that. Or we seems to have a nerdy population in Caltech. What makes you think you fit here? Some people like fun, so they think of essay topic like that. And you can see that this thing, they want you to reflect yourself on paper. And this is better than interview because they don't have the resource to interview everyone, right? But they can have the resource to read every piece of writing. So that's how they get to know you. One person could be really, really, really good at academic and then really, really, really bland at writing. They could be a really not interesting person at all. And some kids with mediocre score can write an excellent essay that make them really interesting and get it. I'll tell about that later. Ranking, this one is class ranking. It means that within your year class, where do you rank? Are you the top 10% of the class? Are you the top 25% of the class? Or are you the top of the class? So, is this important? Of course it is. Even though you come from a school where your standard is not as high as a prep school, your ranking reflects your mentality. If you are here and you think you're the best in your class, it kind of reflects some special mentality that you are among the best and you are the one. You have that different confidence about yourself. Rather than you being in really good school and you are in the top 25%, you wouldn't have that kind of leadership mentality. And the next one is a letter of recommendation. This one is written by your teachers, of course. You probably get to need 2 or 3 of it. And they just want the second opinion on yourself by your teachers. Usually you won't get to see this. You just go to your teacher, ask them if they can write you a letter of recommendation. University will email directly to your teacher. Your teacher will write and send directly back to university. And they don't have to show it to you. They can, but they don't have. Because people might feel uncomfortable if they are forced to show the letter to the applicant. It wouldn't make that fair, right? But I would say, okay, so how do you think they weight these things? Do they say like, okay, anyone with SAT below 1800, we're cutting them off, not looking at application at all, the end, not even gonna read essay? No? No, it's not like that, because I told you there's a mean score, right? Which means there are people who get in with score lower than mean, and there are people who get in with score higher than mean. It means that they look at everything about you. It's kind of like job application. They don't just look at score and then accept you into working. They have to interview you and find out whether you are an acceptable person or not, and then decide later. There will be an example later. So where do you have to prepare? Look at this timeline. You see that I split this into 4 quarters of a year from grade 9 to grade 12. Your school year usually start in September, right? Or October, not sure. So that's why I start with quarter 4, and quarter 3 is usually where your summer comes. Am I right? So you are going to need to apply here. Here is your application period. So that's really far away, isn't it? It's like towards the end of year 12 and the beginning of year 13. So why do you have to start now? Don't know. Because it takes so damn long to study for SAT. Usually Thai students start when they are in grade 11 or maybe late grade 10. But if you look at people who get in Ivy schools, these people usually go to school where they're prepping kids to go into good school. And American school really take focus on this. They teach SAT since grade 9. And they take it seriously because SAT is one of the main factors they consider people getting into college. And they even make that a year pass category. If you don't get SAT higher than a certain point, you're not going to get into grade 10 or something. And they will increase that bar for each year. So by grade 11, people usually in the prep school will get something above 2,000 of the score. And you don't take SAT once you see the green bar. People usually take SAT from grade 10 throughout grade 11 because at least you have to take it 3 times. People usually don't take it more than 4 times, but 3 times is a good amount. And each time there will be improvement. And when you start applying, which means essay, which start in quarter 3 of your grade 11, you can't start sooner because you don't know the prompt. That year you'll be given a prompt on usually 1st of September, and then deadline usually 1st of January. So you have 4 months to do the application. And after application is finished, you're in first semester of your grade 12, and offer will come right away from January to somewhere in April, and you have the time to accept that offer, and you go to college once you finish grade 12. That's your approximate timeline. So, like people have said before, it does not happen at the end of your school year. It happens when you're getting into grade 12. And preparation need to start way before that. So I have this little game called Who Went to Harvard. There are 4 people on there, 4 students with profile up there. Spoiler, there will be 2 people who get in the college, the Harvard, and 2 is rejected. So let's see the first person. First person is Brandon M. He got SAT of 1420, 690 reading, and 730 math. Keep in mind that this is the old score. The full score is 1,600. He has SAT 2 of 710 math 1 and 800 biology. His GPA is 3.7-ish. He went to Berkeley Prep School in Florida. He's a male, Caucasian, and he was 4-year letterman in football, wrestling, weightlifting, class president junior and senior year, student coordinator for Special Olympics, and representative on his high school serious discipline committee. Okay, amazing profile, right? Let's look at the second person. Daniel M. SAT of 1390, 880 reading and 710 math, GPA of 4.51 weighted. That one maximum is 5. High school is Lawrence in New Jersey, male, Latino. Profile is valedictorian, president of Operation Smile Cup, raise money for children for surgery. Boy Scouts for 6 years, Rotary Club Service Award, varsity tennis and winter track and soccer team, paper boy for 5 years, National Hispanic Recognition Program Scholar, National Honor Society and Spanish Honor Society. Another amazing kid, right? The third one is Michelle. Her score is 1450. She got SAT 2 of, well, you can see 670, 710, 750, 720, and ACT of 29. GPA 4.0. She comes from California, female Caucasian, and she's the president of Interact Club and Latin Club, tennis and cross country, attorney for mock trial team for 3 years, organized blood and canned food drive, and she won first place at California State Science Fair in her junior year. Research assistant at NASA Ames Research Center during summer. The last one is Stephanie. She got probably highest SAT among these people, was 1480. She got 800 Math 2, which is the full score, 740 Biology, and 730 Chemistry, GPA of 3.88. This one comes from Connecticut. She's female and Asian American. She is the president of High School Spanish Honor Society for 2 years, a vice president of Science Club in senior years, and MVP of the Mathematics League 2 years in a row, and also captain of tennis team in senior year. So, who do you think get rejected from Howard? These 4 people. Okay, let's start with the first one, Brandon. Who think he got in? You think he got in?
Yeah.
Alright, only one person. What about Daniel? Who think he got in? You think he got in? 2, 3? Okay, so he got more votes. What about Michelle? You think? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You too? 5? Okay, so Michelle has a good vote here. What about Stephanie? You think Stephanie got in? Stephanie? Okay, so Michelle has the highest vote, right? Stephanie has about 2. Do you think so too? Or no? Okay, so let's see who got rejected. So Brandon got in, Daniel got in, Michelle got rejected, and Stephanie got rejected. Keep in mind, these are real person. Yeah, you got both 2 correct. So let's see Brandon. Brandon got in Columbia and Harvard, and he did early action. And he got denied from Stanford and Penn. Daniel got accepted from Amherst and Harvard and Georgetown and Tufts, and he got denied from Princeton. Michelle got accepted to Stanford, UC Berkeley, and UC San Diego, but she got denied from Howard and Princeton. And Stephanie got accepted to MIT and Columbia, and she got denied from a lot of places like Brown, Cornell, Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. So what's the logic behind this? Yes?
It's like not all about grades.
Yes, not all about grades. It is somewhat random. You see, these schools, how can you say a person is good enough for Howard and Columbia and not good enough for Stanford and Penn? Penn ranking is even lower than Howard.
Harvard cares more about
Probably, but no one actually knows because inside admission office policy changes every year. And one thing that you guys never saw of all these people is you didn't see their essays. You didn't read their essays, right? It's not up here. So you can't really decide who has better writing or who has better appeal to the committee. So what I try to give you an idea is that it's random. Once you get to that point, you don't apply to one school and hope that you will get in. Of course, Stephanie might think she definitely get in Cornell, right? Because Cornell ranking is the lowest amongst all. But no, she got in MIT, which is way higher, and got rejected from Cornell, which is way lower. Remember I said that they find people to fit in their campus? Maybe they fill in with, they already have too many Asians this year. So it's too bad for Stephanie. Or, I don't know, they don't have enough Latino this year, so good for Daniel, got into Howard. And that thing happens. So, anyone has any question about the process? No, you understand everything, thank you.